Hi, I'm Dr. God King, and today I'm going to talk about how to multiply faster than when using an electronic calculator. So I am presenting this topic in order to encourage people to have fun and excitement while doing multiplication. And but what are the tools that one would use in order to practice how to do mental multiplication, because that's the situation where you would be in a position to beat an electronic calculator. So there are two main tools. The first one is called the traditional multiplication table, which in principle looks like this. And in close quarters, this is what you would see. As you can see, it is not brain friendly, and it's usually mastered using rote memorization. And when you are doing calculations and competing against a calculator, this is not the table that you want to use. Rather, you should use what I call a ready-made multiplication table. A ready-made multiplication table looks like this. As you can see, it is a brain-friendly arrangement, and it's in the form of a matrix. And using these procedures like times table addition, hip-hop multiplication, and zigzag multiplication, you can actually master the ready-made multiplication table. A more systematic version of the ready-made multiplication table is illustrated there, and in close quarters it looks like this. It is segmented and it's divided into 4 quadrants, and you can practice mastering each quadrant. For now, we are going to talk about how to use the multiplication table. This is a large version of the ready-made multiplication table. I would suggest that you make a printout of the classic ready-made multiplication table and this other version as well if you can, and then laminate it, and then you can use dry erase pen to practice on this and do as many examples as you can. So that's what I would recommend. If you are considering lamination as expensive, you can print them on ordinary paper and then put them inside a plastic pocket, and you can use a dry erase pen to also practice as you would on a laminated sheet. So this is the ready-made multiplication table, and the processes which we shall discuss are short multiplication, which I call hip-hop multiplication, and this is the pattern that you generally use, and zigzag multiplication, which otherwise refers to long multiplication. So let's consider a simple short multiplication, and that deals with multiplication using a single digit. For like 2 times 9, you should have already known that multiplication by a single digit, you can beat any electronic calculator if you know your multiplication table by heart. That means that you can immediately produce the answer before someone punches the numbers on a calculator. So we shall not be discussing much 1-digit multiplication. For 2-digit multiplication, I would suggest that you consider it in batches. The first batch would be mastering 10 to 19 times table, and then the other batch would be 20 to 59 times table, and the third batch would be 60 to 99 times table for the 2-digit multiplication. So let's look at a case of 2 times 12. If you have already memorized or know by heart your 12 times table, you can immediately produce the answer before someone punches those numbers on a calculator. Alternatively, if you are using the ready-made multiplication table, you can see that the answer is already there. So 2 times 12 gives you 24. You see, 2 times 13 would give you 26. 3 times 12 would give you 36. 4 times 12 would give you 48. So you are just reading these numbers out when they are single digits. When you have a case like 5 times 12, you have 5 times 1 is 5 and 5 times 2 is 10. You would add the 5 and the 1 and that gives you 60. So 6 times 12, 6 and 1 would give you 72. 7 times 12 would give you 84. 8 times 12 would give you 96. So you can see that there are patterns and you can easily see these patterns and call out the answers. So there would be, for example, you have another case of 3 times 23 would give you 69. So that's the 23 times table. If you are doing 4 times 23, 8 and 1 would give you 9, so that would give you 92. So this is the hip-hop pattern that you would use for 2-digit multiplication. For 3-digit multiplication, you basically do the same. For example, 3 times 1, 2, 3 would give you 369. I would, before concluding hip-hop multiplication, I would like to point out that what you can do for practice is to use like 2 hands, like someone wearing a glove and in a praying position, and you can put your numbers there. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, and then 24. So you can use these patterns when practicing your hip-hop multiplication. Here you will see 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 8 is 16, 2 and 1, 3, and then 36. But it's not limited to writing numbers in gloves or on the hand. You can think of these as boxes or as screens, television screens, and you can project these numbers and imagine them, and you can read out these numbers whenever you are doing multiplication in your head. So these are the examples of hip-hop multiplication. Now we shall go on to zigzag multiplication, which involves multiplication by 2 numbers, as in 12 times 12. If you know your 12 times multiplication, you can simply rattle the answer as 144. However, if you are using the ready-made multiplication table as a guide, you can say this is 12, this is 12, and you should note which number begins your multiplication. So in this case, 12 times 12 would begin with the number 1. So 1 here, and then you add the number along the diagonal. 2 plus 2 is 4. So 12 times 12 gives you 144. So your answer is there. If you are doing another example, like 12 times 21, 12 times 21, you would note that this is where your zigzag begins. So you identify this pattern, so it would be 2, and then 1 plus 4 is 5, and then you go back, and that gives you 2, 5, 2. So there is another pattern which we could talk about, and you can see that 21 times 12, using this ready-made multiplication, 21 times 12 means that this is where you begin. So this is the pattern that you should use. So it's 2 and 4 and 1, 5, and that gives you 2. And if you have 21 times 21, 21 times 21, so your beginning Your beginning number is 4, so you would go 4 4 1. So that's how you would do it. So this is in general the pattern you would use, and you can extend that even though the numbers may not be next to each other. I have called it a ready-made pattern when the numbers are next to each other. But for example, you can do like um, 21 times 32, so it means that you're dealing with these 4 blocks. 21 times 32 means that this is where um, your zigzag begins. So 4 plus 3 give you 7. So the answer is 6 7 2. Even if the numbers are not close to each other. For example, 21 times 13. 21 times 13 means this is where you begin, so it goes like this: 2 6 and 1 7 3. So that's what you would do. This is a short demonstration of how you can use the ready-made multiplication table to practice your multiplication so that you can master it to the point that you can compete with someone doing using a calculator. You can extend it to other digits, but I would suggest that at the beginning you make it simple until you understand the process, and then apply it mentally so that you can challenge anyone who is doing similar calculations using an electronic calculator. Even if you don't beat the electronic calculator, you would have an impressive display of mental dexterity. And with that, I wish you all the luck in challenging people using electronic calculator so that you have fun and excitement while doing math, and in particular mental multiplication. Thank you. Bye.